Welcome everybody to the WorkPoint Project Management webinar. Glad you could make it. I hope the time suited you well. We had to push it a little bit. Today we're going to go over a setup of WorkPoint for project management. Before we do that, there's a few things I'd like to cover. An example of project management before and after WorkPoint. That's at least how we see it. We will cover what can be done well with project management with WorkPoint as a tool. That would be things like project processes, stage gate, the project model, obviously emails and document, which is something WorkPoint is really strong at. Tasks, project planning, meetings, obviously, project meetings, things like risks, risk register, status reports, and generally the project portfolio management. One thing that will not be covered, and the reason it's not, is that that's not something we do with WorkPoint, the resource management. Some project tools are focused on that, and we have a long time ago decided that we're not specialists in resource management, and SharePoint is not a very good platform to do that. So we have simply said, in terms of resource management projects, there are other tools that are better for that. But all the previous areas, we believe we can do pretty good with WorkPoint. Now, apart from, or as opposed to previous webinars, usually we do a video setup, but in this case we have decided to run just a straight demo. So this would be a live demo. If everything goes to plan, there would be any problems. So let's start looking at a WorkPoint that is set up for project management. In this setup, I'm only briefly going to demonstrate WorkPoint Express, as I believe that most people are, or all the attendees are familiar with WorkPoint Express, and obviously it does the same as you can do in the browser, but it's just a better way of exemplifying the various things in the browser. Obviously, the WorkPoint Express can still create elements and drag and drop things, and then you can do all the same things from your Outlook. But for now, we will concentrate on the browser environment. In here, we have a project management setup. From the top, you have the usual My Tools. Then you have a My Projects web part with a bit of a status overview, so you can see what the projects are running, who are the client, who the project management, the project owner, etc. Obviously, this would be a list that can be configured to your need. Further down, my latest projects, my latest documents, also a pretty normal thing to have, and so, web part showing my task as a project manager or project worker. We have a few charts here where you have projects grouped by states. That's a global thing, so it's not only my projects, that will be all your projects. So I can see here I have 9 out of 31 projects in the idea phase. I have a little more in analysis phase, etc. And if I drill down, I can see which are these, in fact, which projects are we talking about here. This is a standard WorkPoint web part which is available out of the box. If I want to have another overview of the project list, I can go to my project list here, and I have the ability to have first of all an overview. Where I have again a list with the project status that will quickly give me an overview of whether are we on track, are we not on track. If I want a more time view, I can have set up with a Gantt chart, view, so I can do the bar chart, so I can see when are my projects running and when are they coming in, and are they running simultaneously. So that can also be useful for project overview. All of this is simply configured. There's no programming, obviously. Some of these things are even standard SharePoint setups. We just use them. If I'm going to find a project, just as I'm used to, I can search. Or I can go browse down to my project if I know what it is about. We're going to have a look at this planning phase project, development of a smart robot. So clicking here will send me to my project site. Here I have a project site configured with a set of functionality relevant for project management. Again, this is our example. You can have all other kinds of things, but these things are, these functionalities are quite common used in all project management. For those of you familiar with WorkPoint, you will see the standard web part with all the standard information of the project. Just below here we have the task overview showing me that I have 5 incomplete tasks, 1 completed and 1 overdue task. This task web part, for those who don't know, it is also a standard out-of-the-box WorkPoint web part. The bar chart below will show me an overview of what's the taskbar status, the task status. So in progress, not started, waiting on someone else, deferred, whatever statuses you choose to work with. Further down, the project model. Those of you who are familiar with working with the stage gate model will recognize this. This is the WorkPoint stage gate model, where you can define a stage gate setup, a stage model exactly suited to your business. So if you have different terms, different process, it's simply a configuration matter. Also, for those of you who might know that you have the ability to add restrictions to the stages, so you can restrict the users or certain users to move between the stages. Maybe you even want to put in conditions. You can put in a condition, for example, having all tasks must be set to closed before you can complete it, before you can skip the stage, that you can control, so nobody will change the stage as long as there's just status is not all completed. Or you can set up requirements where you need certain documents or other things to be in place, to be stored in various tabs. It could be that you simply need some specific engineering calculation done before you can move to the active stage. That's also possible. So you can put in a number of logic in the in the stage gate model. What you also can do is you can use the stage filter. WorkPoint by default tags any information that is put into the libraries here below, and it will know when it was put in. So you can use the stage filter. What the stage filter will allow you to filter the content on the tabs to that specific stage. So clicking on the apply stage filter, for example, will remove the documents in the document tab because they obviously these have been put in earlier. It will show me engineering docs which are relevant, which are been put into the planning stage, and so on and so forth. The filter can be removed either by clicking up here or clicking here, and you will then have the full overview again. As you can see, apart from standard WorkPoint, there's usually just 1 document list. In this setup, we have 4 document lists, so you can organize your documents into relevant groups. If you prefer that way, you could of course also apply metadata to filter them. It's a matter of how the users prefer things done. We have another document list here for NDA documents. There's none in here, not yet. So that's how the some of the documents are organized. Another thing that relates to the stage gate model is the web part here with what we call the quality assurance web part. The idea with the quality assurance web part, which can be used for a lot of other things, is that we want certain documents, certain information to be available to the users based on which stage the project is in. So when the stage change, the content of these 3 tabs will change as well, meaning that you can put in documents, guidance, instructions that are relevant for a specific stage, and that's set up in the background. So that's also something that depends on the stage model that you set up. It can all be configured in the backend. The reason, obviously, is it's easy to have people easier to have people see the information when it's straight in their face. And if the information changes along with the context they're in, sorry, they will easily be able to follow it. Now, when we talked about the tasks and then the stages, obviously when we look at the task model, this would be where you would put in your project plan. Now, some people used to have project plans in Microsoft Project, and today with Project you can synchronize the tasks out and into the Microsoft Project. So on a task list like this, you would be able to click on the expand mode to get it in a bigger list. And from this list, you can simply use the standard SharePoint functionality open with Project, given that you have Project installed. That came on my other screen, but I will just move it to here. So now I have my project tasks. Oops. So here we have, and we can just sort them to have it look more like a normal project plan. And if I do changes here on my project plan, I could accidentally put in an extra task. We could just prolong the last task here and say, okay, it'll be another week. Now I can save my changes back into the site I came from simply by syncing. So now I'm changing, oops, I forgot to put a title on one of the tasks. Anyway, that will simply sync the information into the SharePoint site where I came from. So you can export your tasks from your WorkPoint project out to Microsoft Project to work with it there and synchronize it back in. And then you would be able to have your full project plan just viewed here. You can also set up different task lists, different views. So you would be able to have the users view this list in expand mode in a Gantt chart, so they can have the bar chart as most project plans are displayed in. A few other things we've put on to this project site. Now we've covered the project plan and project model. Often in projects you want status reports. Status reports are needed to be done pretty often. You can do status reports in a lot of ways. You could have them written with a template, a Word template, or you could have them just as this very simple list where you have a status date, and for each of the dates of the meeting you will add a description, a status, color status, and action for the next period. And it's very simple to add this. We have configured a button here for status reports. Give you a little quick look up. Oh yeah, all right, there's a date field here, so I didn't have to do that. Put that in. Description. And it's really bad, so no actions. Done. And now we put in the status report. Obviously, you can add more fields to add more statuses. Maybe you need more information, but it's that simple to have the status reports put in. You would be able to have the latest status report displayed in the dashboard for the manager, for example, on the front page, if that's necessary. You can also add risks. No project without risks, unfortunately. You need to be able to manage them. All project methodology has risk management as part of it. So in this setup, we have created risks with a title, severity, effect, countermeasured, triggers and actions, and who owns this, and what's the possibility. So again, in this case, we have a setup where the semiconductors could be in a scarce supply. So what can they do? They can use full conductors instead, but just need to cut them in half to have semiconductors. That's a very good way of handling the risk. Again, click the risk button, fill it in, and you have added a risk to your risk register. I'm sure you get the point, so I'm not going to spend time on adding content to this risk. Finally, we have something that's not used in all companies, but sometimes you have transmittals. Transmittals is simply a collection of documents that need to be compiled for the project, for a part of the project maybe. So that's set up with a site. So here we have simply a site for transmittal. The reason for these are sendings, the actions to be taken by the recipient, and other details. Of course, you can have all this set up again with your need. In this case, we have a flow, very easy. You define the transmittal, then you send it, and you are able to record recipients, simply persons or organizations that need to come to get this on the transmittal. So you have your transmittal completely compiled, and you know exactly who's going to receive them, what time is it, what date are they completed, and what is the content. The content would obviously be a lot of documents that has been made on the project. For those who use transmittals, for those who don't, you don't need to have that part. It's just an add-on. Last thing I'm going to cover would be the relations. This is a standard WorkPoint setup that some of you might know about. The idea with the relation is to be able to display relationships between elements in the system. It's very, due to WorkPoint's module structure, it's very well known that you have a relation with the company, and under the company you have projects. So that relation is obvious, but sometimes you have relationships that you want to show, but you can't just show from the hierarchy. In this case, we have a relation called similar project. So the development of an automated welder is related, and it's connected with this responsible person. So on this relation, I can simply look at the relation and say, okay, we have a similar project here. That might be something that we want to have a look at. And if I want to have a look at it, I can just click here, and I can see, okay, here are the details. And if I want to go to it, I can click the go to, and it will send me to the site of that specific project. So that's the related project I just jumped to. Going back. All right. Browser feature. I could also go to the relation tab on that project. Another relation would be a stakeholder, very common thing. You have a stakeholder here who is for some reason involved in this advisory board, so he is a relevant person to know about on the project. The relation model can be used in various ways. You can behind the or in the administration work set module, you can set up relations. You can name the relations yourself. You can define which modules are going to be related and in what way. So there's quite a few of possibilities here, also in relation to other things than project management. Whenever you have relations between elements in your WorkPoint solution, you can use the relation model. The relation will be created with a little wizard where you can say, okay, I want to create a relation. This wizard is set up when you do the configuration. So let's just add another stakeholder. I want to have a contact. So stakeholder, find the target. Just need to search for something. And I will choose this gentleman, select and review. So I have put in Mr. Søren Madsen as a stakeholder. I can add a period time to it. I can put in description and I save the relation. So now I've set up another stakeholder on the project. Which for some reason, that's because it's grouped. There's two stakeholders here. Just to touch down on the WorkPoint Express, I've just dragged up the desktop. Here we have our project solution in WorkPoint Express. If I search for the new smart robot, I'll have my project, and as you can see, all the documents, lists, events, tasks, you can see, and you can also, of course, create tasks from in here if you want to do that. You can create status reports, etc. So you can, as you're used to, you can do anything in WorkPoint Express as well. Just a different view on it all. So that's about all I wanted to cover today. The WorkPoint project management. An example of how you can set up a project solution with WorkPoint. You can do more, you can do less. It's completely up to how your business needs it. So thank you for your interest in project management with WorkPoint. Please contact us for more information or assistance if you need it, or contact your WorkPoint partner. I'm sure they're happy to assist as well. Thank you and have a good day.